Then that Lululemon deal grew, and to the point where I started getting like, what they give me, 3 bands a month. Yeah, that's
What were
how I
some
got
of
here.
your greatest memories over there at TU, man?
I should have wore my ring today. Shit. You really had to do
I
that?
have to do it, bro. I gotta know, bro. LeBron or MJ, bro?
I love LBJ, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I went to one of his high school games in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yo, what is up with you guys? We are back. Season 2, back with another banger. The second episode for season 2 of Everybody Hates Jabber, guys. Like we said before in all the other previous episodes, we are streaming everywhere. So make sure that you guys go to wherever you guys like to listen to your podcasts at, whether that be Apple Podcasts, that be Spotify, all the good places. You know where to go. So wherever you guys listen to them at, make sure you guys go check it out. Give us a follow. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We have got a wonderful episode today, guys. We have got Ricky Bolton Jr. Every time I say your name, I always say Ricky Bolton Jr. because I feel like you put it like to be said. You know what I mean? Like it's a name. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely do. It took me a long time to actually embrace that name because me and my dad, we had to build this relationship on the back end.
Okay.
And so then right about sophomore year of college, I was like, I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
A lot of power in it.
Yeah. So that's what was kind of one of my questions too. Was what's that relationship like with Ricky Bolton Sr.? Because with you having a junior name, it's like you have such a close tie to your dad. Whether you want it to or not. So how does that kind of feel?
I think because I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And my dad had a lot of quarrels with his decision makings early in his life.
Right.
But he was trying to be the best black dad ever. Within that, he spent some time in prison and getting out and reforming himself.
Okay.
And I had to learn being an adult and a father is hard.
Right.
And so when you get out on your own, you start to look back and you're like, I should never been that mad about it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we're at now, and that's my dog.
Oh yeah, That's cool, man. That's cool because I've kind of had that same thing too with my mother. She's kind of the same way, in and out of prison. Been on drugs and stuff like that, and for a while there, it was almost like I remember going to school and stuff and thinking like my aunt and uncle were the ones who raised me, and I remember thinking like, man, I wish they were my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Like I hate that my mom's my mom, and then like it finally, once I got older and I started to, just respect life more, I finally was able to look at her and, be proud that, she's my mom, because no matter what, you know what I mean? No matter what she did, it still helped me become the man that I am today. So can't really be too mad about it.
Speaking on that, major facts, my aunt and uncle took me in too.
Yeah.
So my mom is the sister of my so my uncle married my auntie, which is her and my mama's sister.
Right.
And so they had to have a conversation to help take me in and give me better opportunities. And so my mom was working and she had 2 other kids. So I got to like live with my aunt and uncle on some like Will Smith,
Yeah.
So, and I used to like, man, dang, they have it so made.
Yeah.
But then you got to go back and see what you were made of. And that's kind of what,
Yeah, that's funny too, because same thing, bro. Some Will Smith, you know what I'm saying? Like, my aunt and uncle, they weren't like super rich, you know what I mean, by any means, but they definitely, like, especially compared to where I came from, like, they had it well off.
Good structure.
Yeah, very well structured, and like, we took family vacations every year, we took vacations with the church every year, so like 2 or 3 times a year, you was going somewhere far out of state, somewhere you've never been, to go explore life. So like it helped show me that there's more to life than the 3rd Street apartments in Coffeyville, Kansas. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Oh, Kansas.
But so where does the Ricky Bolton story start? Ricky Bolton Jr. My bad. Where does the Ricky Bolton Jr. story start? Like, who are you? Where do you come from? What do you do?
Yeah. So remind me, I'm gonna go piece by piece, man.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Burlington, North Carolina.
Okay.
We call it the shoebox.
Yeah.
Because it's small. It's kind of like here,
right,
in a sense. We got oceans, we got all that, because it's North Carolina,
right,
basketball, super athletes.
Right.
But I started there through Burlington and Graham. Went through grade school there, high school there, and then got an opportunity in the summers out without playing basketball to be in Miami with my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
Or Winston-Salem at the time, and then Miami.
Okay.
Throughout that, my story of growing up is pretty serene in North Carolina. Basketball took me at an early age. Baseball, basketball, and football took me at an early age. And I just was super athletic and built my way through that. That's kind of what formed my identity and structure. And then I got to a point in high school where I got really good at one and then still played the others, but I knew what I was going to do. And so ended up playing basketball in college. Throughout that, of course, I weathered a lot of storms through my parental structure. But that's me. And then what's the next question?
You pretty much answered them all. Like, where do you come from and what do you do and stuff. So, like, growing up in North Carolina, like, what's some of the differences between like growing up out there on what is that, like northeast or?
It's if you're from here.
Oh no, that's from the south.
It's
actually
the East Coast.
East Coast, right?
South Carolina is south.
Yeah.
But if you are from there and you're talking to people in the structure, it's considered like the South. But it's a melting pot. Right. Everybody's there.
Okay.
You know, so.
Cause I've been, I have family in South Carolina, down in like Charleston and stuff. So like I was saying earlier about like when we take family reunion vacations, that was like one of the spots that we would go to a lot. And man, I loved it, man, because it felt like I don't know if North Carolina is the same way, but I'm sure it is, especially like with sports and stuff. But South Carolina just has such like a rich Black history, and like going there and then going on like the tours and like seeing some of those plantations and stuff, it just really like was somewhere that kind of resonated with me that like I've always loved since a kid. And like, is it kind of the same way in North Carolina, or is it kind of more like sports history?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're synonymous. But when you're talking about the plantations and all that, there's some in North Carolina, but it's gonna hit way different in the South. You know, which you talk about, you go through Charlotte and it's only separated by, you can get to South Carolina within an hour or 2 hours, 45 minutes. I think Rock Hill, but I mean, it's going to be synonymous. The people are great. Love to live. Of course, it's beaches. Yeah. A lot of shopping, a lot of young talent, a lot of universities, which keeps people like us young and talented there and growing. So,
So when did sports come into the picture for you? You said at an early age. How early of an age was that?
I ain't going to lie, bro. Probably like 5, 6. Yeah. I was a very smart and like I was always into stuff. Yeah. So my mom, she had to find a way to just get me out the house and keep my structure going. So
I got you.
After that, man, literally from like 5, man, I think I've been playing. Yeah.
Do you feel like you always knew like this is what it's gonna be for me? Because like whenever I was 5 and 6, like I love basketball too. Allen Iverson, that was my dude, bro. Like I remember being 6 years old, just being absolutely in love with Allen Iverson, like watching him play and just being like, wow, you know what I mean? I actually got a chance to see him play when I was in like 4th grade. It was like one of his last years when he was with the 76ers. So I got to see that. That was pretty cool. But like, did you always kind of know like basketball is what it's going to be for me? Or?
Man, honestly, I thought football.
Okay.
But basketball is just pushed so adamantly in North Carolina. You got Michael Jordan with the UNC. Most of the great, Jerry Stackhouse, most of the greats come from North Carolina. It's a hoop state. Right. So I knew I was going to be doing something athletic, that I knew it was going to help me travel the world and do something different in my life. No. I figured it was going to be academia or sports. I had a lot of bad influences around me, but I never thought that I would be doing that. I knew it was going to be in sports, you know.
So how did you navigate that? Like whenever you did have those bad influences, because it was tough for me to navigate. I ain't gonna lie. Like I was just, I don't know if it was maybe because I was just looking for acceptance, you know, with not having my parents there and stuff, you know, or what it was. But it seemed like whenever those bad influences came into my life, it was real easy for me to hang out with those people and eventually start gravitating to doing those things instead of doing the things that like I actually really liked, like playing basketball, playing sports. Because I'm kind of like you too, baseball, football, soccer, basketball, track, everything, you know. So once I started hanging out with those bad influences, it just took me away slowly but slowly.
So for one, I grew up in a family of a lot of girls, and if you know anything about women, which you do, you know, they are natural nurturers and protectors.
For sure.
So my girl cousins like would pull up like my mom and make sure I wouldn't get anything. My boy cousin family, they just more like live, like you know. So I think through that, having great structure, my granddad, who was on my father's side, because my dad wasn't really around like that, would always come and make me pour concrete.
Okay.
I hated that.
Yeah, make you work, huh? Oh, boy.
So that kept me away. And then I started to, at a young age, see what was going on.
Yeah.
Like you didn't trick me out my spot much. Right. It happened, but not much. So I grew up fast. Mm-hmm. So within it, I start to really compartmentalize really fast. Right. Now I'm gonna tell you this. As a man now, I struggle with that because I compartmentalize on 10. Yeah. And that doesn't help me have the patience in relationships and the patience here. Mm-hmm. Sport is something you can work and be good at and it becomes, I don't want to say institutionalized, but it becomes easy, one-track mind to focus. Right. This other stuff over here, I was like, that's the sport. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this became easy. So I think the compartmentalization process and what I seen growing up and uncles from up north who made crazy decisions, my dad that made crazy decisions, I had too many examples. And you spoke earlier, mom and drug. My dad, he done that, got on that, and that was one of the wild part of my life. And I seen a dude go from here to here, you know, and I'm like, nah, not me, not bro. Me, not me, right? You know, so
I don't know. I think also like my aunt and uncle, like you said, with structure. Yeah, they were structured up, boy. Like they wasn't playing. Like same with my uncle, like pouring concrete. We didn't really pour concrete, but like every Friday and Saturday we mowing lawns, raking leaves, doing all this stuff. And like my uncle was he had such a kind heart, like the biggest heart in the world. So like we're mowing Mother Barry's yard, we're mowing the church's yard, we're mowing Pastor and First Lady's yard, we're mowing Mother DeMumber's yard. Like we got all these people whose yards we're mowing.
That's how you know you had the good love around you. I did the church. Church was an amazing part of my life. But that's good, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. I and church was for me too. Like growing up, like some of the most pivotal things in my life happened around church, or something to do with church, or going to school. I went to a private Christian school, so you know, just a lot of church in my life. But also with that too, I feel like just kind of when you are forced to do things so much, once you kind of have the freedom to not have to do those things, it's easy to kind of like not do it as much, you know.
Yeah, so true, man. I'm trying to think my most rebellious point, and when I chose to deviate probably came when I didn't get sport acceptance. Okay. When I got cut or something. Yeah. I didn't make an AAU team. And I'm like, wait, I'm nice. Yeah. And then you got to sit there with your thoughts. And that's outside of the bad influences, I will say personally, that's what made me kind of deviate a bit. Mm-hmm. And then I would tie back in like, nah, I'm just going to work harder.
Yeah, just work harder. Yeah. And it's good that like you were able to, you know what I'm saying, have that mindset of like, let's just work harder, you know, because a lot of people fail to have that. And I think that's such a like important thing that like a lot of these young kids need to understand is like it takes work. I mean, especially nowadays with social media the way it is, like you're able to paint a picture that basically makes it seem like you did something great overnight. Yeah. And people look at that and they think that like, oh, he was just born this way. Like he's just born great. Like they don't understand the hard work that it takes and stuff. So talk about that a little bit, like the dedication that it took to make it to the levels that you did, which we'll get into here in a little bit as well.
I think the biggest thing of the levels of my life is always been able to have the skill to recreate myself. Yeah. I think people, 10,000 hours, right? They say to become a master, right? People just do away with that, right? We got YouTube, and I love YouTube. Yeah. YouTube can cook up some great things. Yeah. But people get the wrong idea because they think the 10,000 hours becomes 5. Yeah. You know, you still got to grind. Let's say I get a new piece of equipment in my line of work right now. I'm not just going to put it into play. I need to go see all the ways it can go into play. That might take me 10,000 hours. It might take me a year. Right. I'm just not afraid of the time that it takes to be great. Yeah. And I don't like cutting corners. Yeah. I will cut a corner, but I know I'm going to have to pay for that on the back end. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what helped my levels. Alongside of that, music's been big for me since I was a kid. I listened to New York rap, a lot of the old MCs. Built down now to Nipsey Hussle, who talks about all vertical integration. Right. It's a learning tool. So you can get in between internet, but I think that's what's kept me going level to level. It's just a skill to recreate and not worry about the Joneses so much. Yeah. The only Jones I worry about is what pair of fresh kicks I want, my clothing a little bit, I might put on a nice little chain here and there, But outside of that, I know I gotta work for it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
and I think I'm glad that you said that too, about like not cutting the corners, and how like if you do cut the corners, you know it's going to hit you on the back end. Because that's another phase that like I'm into now, is like the same way, you know what I'm saying? Like trying not to cut the corners, doing the extra work, you know what I mean? Because growing up and stuff, I was kind of that person where, and I feel like it may have kind of came down from my mom, you know what I mean? She was always like a schemer, a hustler, you know what I mean? Like, how can we get the quickest buck type of thing? How can we get the result that they want the quickest, the easiest, you know? And so I kind of adapted that, and it was always like, oh, let me try to figure out how I can like get to the finish line the quickest and the easiest.
Let me get deeper real quick. One thing that stands out to me from my childhood is the one time all my buddies were getting fresh Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
You know, that's been cycling back. I'm 34. So, I couldn't get them. But my mom was like, my dad was out. My mom was like, can't get them. So she got me, Lord, Avarex Air Force Ones. I don't know if you even been Avarex.
I don't know what that is.
So everybody
no.
in Chicago wear Pele.
Yeah.
Or Avarex jackets, a leather, or New York, like Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
So I was a big Wu-Tang fan, so she was like, all right, we'll get the Avarex shoes because you like the Avarex jacket.
Yeah.
But that's two different things. So anyway, I had to wear those Avarex skips, bro, those tennis shoes, those Air Force Ones for like a year. Dog, you talking about the coolest kid going to like Jabba the jokes.
Yeah.
That 1 year told me how people switch on you.
Right.
And I think I was 14, and I had to be patient for whatever I get. Yeah. And I carry that every time I try to cut a corner in this grind.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So
let's get back into the sports a little bit. So like going up and like going in high school, you said you went to Graham, right?
Yeah, man. Graham High.
And so what was the level of competition like out there in North Carolina? Because like you said, it's a huge basketball state. So
first and foremost, North Carolina is a place where you can go play pickup at a local Y, a local high school. There's a lot of gyms in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Blacktop, and everybody 80%. Maybe 80-90% you played somewhere or played at some level.
Right.
Like out here, you know, we can pull up to, let's say we go to BA Community Center. You might see one person that played at a level and he just get cardio.
Right.
Ain't no sleep in North Carolina. When I was coming up, no sleep in basketball. When I was coming up around that. So that's how that grind was. As far as my high school competition, man, we were 2A.
Okay.
But I got to play AAU, so we basically 5A.
Right.
You know, so when we get back, the big boys, either you with us or you get lost.
Yeah.
You know, so we run in the court. We won a lot. Very competitive. State championship run my senior year. Every other year, it's just so much competition. We would go down to Burlington Cummins, who had I think they had 3 NFLers on their roster.
Dang.
And one NBA player, fringe NBA, but he made it a little bit. JT Terrell played with the 905 Raptors in Toronto. If you look him up on YouTube, he's cold. He's about John Wall time area.
Okay, yeah.
But that's my dog. But anyway, highly competitive state, 2A. Sounds like much of nothing, but 2A hits way different in North Carolina. You know?
Oh, I bet, bro.
It's crazy.
I bet.
Yeah.
So and then you go to you get through. You're going through high school and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're getting to that level, or you're getting to that time where it's like getting about to your senior year.
Yeah.
You're thinking about colleges and stuff. Like, what was kind of going through your mind at that time?
UNC.
Yeah.
Wake Forest.
Right.
The biggest of biggest, because my head's so big.
Yeah.
I'm going to camp, so going to 5-star. I'm cooking.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm going there.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, senior year I hit, and I was like, oh, it's levels to this.
Right.
And I actually, man, in that process, about junior year, was recruited by a bunch of D2s and D3 schools, which for me, I was excited. Went to my senior year, I think we got a new assistant coach who became the head coach, Rod Cousin, who was connected to University of Radford in North Carolina. Radford is a run and gun school known for shooting. I wasn't much of a shooter as an athlete.
Okay.
And so they had some interest, and I was thinking I was going there.
Yeah.
Things just went a little different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you ended up where now?
Yeah, man. So ended up actually going to Winston-Salem State University. So there's a player in the league, PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, PJ. Everybody that's watching this podcast probably knows about PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
So
North Carolina's finest. His brother was my teammate, Isaiah Tucker.
Okay.
Isaiah played, if I'm not mistaken, right before John Wall with Chris Leitner. The names go long, but Isaiah was at Word of God Christian Academy. Mm-hmm. So our families are close. So I come from a coach's family.
Okay.
So my uncle recruited PJ at Texas.
Yeah. So
when we found out Isaiah was going there, Winston-Salem State had the first D1 class in history. We were known for Clarence Big House games, Earl to Pearl Mountain Row, D2 national champions, and then they went D1.
Okay.
Our class was the first D1. So we got dudes getting recruited all the way up to University of South Carolina to UNC Wilmington that are coming to make this D1 program.
Right.
It was 20 of us, right? And so chose to go there. Honestly, first year, all I got was academic money. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a dude that went into a university with a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
You know. So Winston State University, HBCU.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, man. That's my first university I went to.
Right.
Yeah. So Missouri came on the back end. So, yeah.
So HBCU, talk about what was it like to be at a HBCU? That's something that I never went to college, but now that I am older and I know a little bit more about the things that I know, I'm like, man, HBCU sounds like somewhere I would have liked to have been.
Yeah, man. It was an amazing experience. A lot of us, ironically too, there's a lot of other demographics there too. We were in dominance there. We're predominantly black.
Right.
So it was great, man. Small classrooms, a lot of fun, a lot of togetherness on campus, a lot of events. I mean, Greek life. Step shows. I mean, beautiful people in general.
Right.
Of course, beautiful women, beautiful black queens. You know, a lot of men that are in prominence.
Right.
A lot of support. It just where the sports come into play, the support was there from the university, but the world wasn't tuned in to look and say, oh, they got guys that can play at the next level. But all in all, man, D1, we had a great run the first and the second year, man. Yeah. We were rolling. We had a bunch of D1 guys. We were going into Maryland, Kansas State. Oh man, playing Mike Beasley, crazy.
Yeah.
But we was rolling, bro. Good coaching staff. Everyone was just trying to figure it out, man. And but HBCU experience, it shaped my life. Shout out to Dr. Felder. Make me get up at 5 a.m. to meet him.
For what?
Just to mentor me.
Yeah.
Man. I couldn't stand it. But now I look back and I'm getting up.
You're probably like, man, that meant a lot, probably. Yeah.
And he was bigger, more instrumental than our head coach at the time. You know, I would go to him and go to practice, go lift. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, because one of my questions was, did you major in eligibility or did you take school seriously? But it sounds like you kind of took school seriously. So
I will say this. Could I have majored in eligibility? Yes. But I told you earlier, my supporting class was women.
Yeah.
My auntie, my mama, my cousins they pull up to the campus.
Right.
Be in my dorm. The RA let them in my dorm.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
Because I went to school an hour and a half at Winston from Burlington.
So they was right there.
So they were right there, giving groceries and all that. So no, I was always serious, and then Dr. Felder made me get up. Now, granted, I was very academically inclined.
Yeah.
So I didn't. Shame to admit, I didn't study for nothing into grad school.
Really?
Only biology.
Yeah.
You know, so I ran through academics like a mug, and to a point where I was like, should I major in like something else, like engineering?
Yeah.
But as an athlete, I didn't have the most time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know what they didn't tell us then was that being an athlete is a job. Yeah. Within a job.
Right.
So yeah.
And that's so good for like some of these the younger kids, especially like the black kids that are watching this pod, you know what I mean, that do play sports and stuff, and they think that like it's got to be sports. Like it's good to hear, you know, someone that looks like us take school seriously to the point to where it ended up paying off, you know what I mean, and it ended up giving you an outlet and giving you other, you know, sources and resources to be able to progress yourself in life.
Oh yeah, dog. It'll be sometimes I won't have nothing to do on the weekend, and because school was so ingrained, I wake up thinking I got a paper due, and then I'm like, wait. I've been out of school.
Right.
School, I took it very serious. Yeah. And it's carried over into my life now to the point where I got to slow myself down and know that everything isn't applications, deadlines, or a grade. Right. If I get a D today with a human, I can make that to an A tomorrow.
Right.
So
for sure. And I wish my cousin, when I first started this podcast, it was Coffee and Kicks podcast, and my cousin, he was the co-host with me. Man, that would have been such a good conversation for y'all, because he just finished with his doctorate in physical therapy.
Super lit.
Over in Oklahoma City, and so like he's just really into that kind of stuff as well, and it just would have been a dope conversation for y'all to both have. Because me, like, I don't really know, you know what I'm saying, a whole bunch of that school stuff. I never went to school like that. Like, I got my high school diploma, and I went to welding school. Like, that's what I went to trade school. So
still link me and your cousin up. But my advice, you're better off now, because as a incoming freshman without basketball, I didn't know what I wanted to major in. I didn't know what it looked like. So now you get to see all this stuff, and if you want to go back, you have a one-track mind.
Focus mind on what you want to get.
You
and what
you
want
to
achieve.
All the other.
For sure.
Yeah.
So also talk about, like, kind of what's some of the differences between high school athletes and then going to that college level.
Freshman year, they are still pretty much in high school and college. Unless you just a man child. Like
baby brown.
Like you gotta be, that dude. But I would say the biggest thing is commitment and time management. You don't have to be the best time manager when you get to college, but there are things put in front of you on purpose. Me being a former strength and conditioning coach in a collegiate level, I'm going to wake you up at 5. We're going to get this mile in, get you good and tired, get you breakfast, and let's see, can you fight through adversity for the rest of the day. A lot of times, 2 out of the 15, they gonna mess up, then you can kind of help the team come around those 2 and build young men.
Got you.
So I think the biggest thing is time management and understanding this is what you're here for, but you're also here for this and this and this. And don't forget to be a great person on top of that. So I think that's the hardest thing. The weights, conditioning, all of that is tough. You'll get through it. Getting on the court and showing what you got to do, and keeping your mental in check, one of the hardest things. So
mental is a big part of it, man. And mental, especially once you start getting to those next levels, you got to be just as mentally strong as you are, physically and skill wise, and I've never made it to that level, but it's just one of those things that you could tell separated the greats from the people that were just average. Was a lot of times was their mental game. Yeah,
man. There's a lot to go into it. From the mental aspect, okay, so saying this, professional basketball is easier than college basketball. That's why if you got a chance to go pro, you should, because you're raw enough to take the I don't want to say cuffs, but the reins off when you get here, and you can be who you are. And the coaches up there are just gonna let you go crazy because you're here to do that. In college, you're still in a uniform. You got to fit the schematics of what's going on with the coach, his system. Now, if you were that dude, this becomes your system. But a lot of times, so we still running the plays. We're moving the ball 4 or 5 times. Before you know it, you were high level scorer in high school, your previous college. You might get 4 less touches. Mentally, what does that do to you? I got 4 less chances to miss a shot. Then you're like, dang, I got to make this shot. Miss it, and then all of a sudden you averaging freshman sophomore year, you're not averaging what you average, and then perceptions come in.
So do you think that the NIL, how does that play in and stuff, man? Because I know probably whenever you were coming up, taking money, even if you did take money, that was kind of like a I'm pretty pissed. Because I'm like, bro could have been getting bread. Could have made a little something.
But I'm happy because I have so many friends. When I was a player and as a coach that got disqualified, quote unquote, or got sanctioned because of something crazy. Not only the money stuff, but let's say party flyer. Let's say you want to have a party, right?
Yeah.
You put me on a party flyer. You throw the party. You make an extra $200. You don't even give me the money, but they just like, oh, Ricky Bolton Jr. gonna be at the party. Oh, we coming.
Yeah.
NCAA sees that, and
wow.
It's
like, it was like that.
Yeah.
Dang.
And you don't even have to get the money.
Yeah.
So now looking at name, image, likeness, I'm happy that players get to represent themselves, become entrepreneurs,
right.
Push through.
Right.
The only thing that I don't like about it is I like athletes to be focused on their future. It is basketball, but academically,
right.
And learning the correct things they need to learn to depart and go forward in life.
Yeah.
And then another deal is what happens to the smaller schools that can't up the ante.
Right.
And so I know I'm a product of a smaller school that was able to go to a bigger school, but does that limit that now? So now you got to be really like that to get one of them 16 spots,
right.
Because I've seen some numbers. I seen a 225, 225K a player get that to go to a university. Dang. Legally. So you talking about
crazy.
Yeah,
before they even played or make it. Like, dang,
dog, I'm on the couch if I get 225 as a freshman. Like,
right.
Basketball 225,
right?
Nah, I'm gonna still hoop, but I'm just saying, like, it's good that they getting that, and it's good that they get their power.
Yeah.
It's good that because you got the other end of the conversation too. As a coach, like you go in, we evaluate these men yearly.
Mm-hmm.
I was evaluated yearly as a player, and the coach can just say, we don't want you anymore.
Yeah.
And then we're looking for another school. You ain't got your scholarship check. You ain't got. So it's a double-edged sword. I think you put parameters on it and you let humans be humans. And now we know we're going to the university to do a job, academically and physically and mentally.
Right.
So.
It kind of just reminded me when you were talking about evaluating. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but did you see that clip with Deion Sanders whenever he was talking about like evaluating players and stuff? And
yeah.
How did that make you feel? I mean, because honestly, to my opinion, I'm like, I agree with bro. You know what I mean? Like, in a sense, sometimes it's one of those things where you kind of got to watch, like your crowd, you know what I'm saying? And the people that your company before you speak. But it was also like, it didn't really seem like he was saying anything that wasn't necessarily true.
Well, Deion is real.
Yeah.
And for the first time, he's allowing videography and video to be in a coaching deal. When I was a coach, or still now, a lot of coaches, they don't want that stuff out. Mm-hmm. So what's happening is, it's like when we first got social media and we started seeing the wildest stuff. We like,
Yeah.
So it's just seeing what's happening. I don't think he's no different than any of the other coach.
Right.
We all evaluate. We all say this or that. Now, it's certain things, like when we're in a locker room, we don't need what we talk about in the locker room to get out.
Right.
But he's pushing that narrative. So what you need to know is you sign your NIL and you go to Colorado, whatever you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You getting evaluated.
Right.
Gotta forget, Deion was one of the best athletes.
Period.
Let's just say period. So he was getting evaluated all times, even when he went to play baseball. And had he not produced, he'd be out of here. So I think that's the leadership, and especially coming from a black coach, that's the leadership that our young men need. And not only is he leading young men, he has young women on his staff too. I see he does a good job with family there. Mm-hmm. But he's pushing them to understand what this is about. So when you get the opportunity to go to the next level, you're not going to squander it.
You're not going to squander it,
Yeah.
And
so I could have went a better way, but I'm not mad at it, because that's what's happening at Alabama. That's what's happening at. We just ain't seeing it.
They're not talking about it like he is.
Yeah.
So now you're going through. You're in college and stuff. And then so after you left Winston-Salem, you went to Missouri.
University of Missouri, man. So my uncle is at the University of Miami, and I used to talk to him at all times. So I would go there and I would play pickup with the team.
I got you.
And they had a couple pros on that team, and I would hold my own.
Yeah.
And we'd always joke, and he was like, "Man, I ain't really know you could."
You like that,
and I was dunking then too.
Right.
So, and little fella still, but dunking. So he was like, "Man, I ain't really know." He was like, but he never really gonna say like, "Come over here."
Yeah.
He just like, So anyway, Summer came and I hit him and I was like, man, I want to make a change. And he gave me an opportunity to. First, I was thinking I was gonna go UM, Miami. Okay. And then he got the job at University of Missouri, and I was about to transfer anyway. I think I was going to UNC Greensboro. Okay. And I was trying to go to Wake Forest, but wires get crossed. So end up going to University of Missouri with him. Yeah. And talk about a different world. I mean, you talking about going from an HBCU to predominantly white institution, but it's love. Yeah, like it's love, especially for the athletes, for the congregation. It's love. It's a big school. We could get in the gym when we wanted to. Yeah. So I was a grinder, gym rat. Yeah. So like at the university, at Winston State University, much love, hate to admit it, I had to really break in the gym. Really? Like break in the gym, and then the campus police would spin the block and be like, oh, that's just Rick. First time they called coach, like, man, Rick in the gym, because they conserving power, they cutting it off. We don't have 24 access. Right. I'm breaking in the gym. I'm getting my shots up. I got stuff to do after this. So Missouri, I get there, we got a handprint. Get in the gym anytime we want to.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. Cold tub, hot tub, treadmill, weight room. Yeah. Main gym. Mini cafeteria, film room. And so I got there and I was around some real deal pros. Yeah. So that first year, I was able to, quote unquote, be on the team and grind. Didn't play much, but just get the guys better in practice and be around them. And I was around I'm talking about pros. When I say pros, they did go on and play professional careers in the NBA, but pros, like up in the morning, 4, calling the managers, getting extra shots up, going watching film, leaving, coming back for 3 workouts, 2 classes. Our class structure was structured around basketball. We still got it in academically, but it was structured around basketball. When you over here, we at the HBCU, we practicing. Our coach got us practicing all year at 5:30 a.m. because our instructor, we can't get our classes where we want to. So I get in there and I'm like, we can take online classes. Yeah. Like we can go to basketball I was so nice that year. Like, and then not only that, being around those peers.
Right. Those people that help motivate you to stay grinding even harder.
And a lot of them, their dads played in the league. Yeah. So they already had the tools to understand what the grinding works. Yeah. So that was Missouri for me. And then after that, I tried to go pro for a little bit. Had an offer. Was going to Germany. Took a flight, came back. Cup of coffee, real fast. Right. Flight came back, and then decided to go into coaching, and I went and joined the staff at the University of Missouri.
Okay, I got you.
As a recruiter.
So whenever you did you like enter the draft or whenever?
Nah. I wasn't that tight. I was nice, but I wasn't that tight.
Yeah. It was more kind of have that realization, like, man, the league, NBA,
it's
may
hard.
Not be for me.
It's hard because you in practice and you're going toe to toe, but you got to realize this world is based on timing and opportunity and when you got there, know. So I mean, I think I had that realization when I got to Missouri, and I seen. It's not that I couldn't get there, but I seen like they were younger and owned that already. Right. Right. When I was at the HBCU. It was only me in that gym. Yeah. Granted, the guys was nice there. Don't get it twisted. But it was only me in that gym. Right. So
it wasn't what you shooting in the gym.
Bro. Facts. Like, when me shooting in the gym. But no, so I had that realization when I first, and I was a pretty sharp kid. So I knew what was up. And I took my role with the team. A lot of those guys are great friends with me today because I was able to take that role. And if I call them, they look out for me with no hesitation. Right. I helped them get to their dreams. And so they have no problem helping me get to mine. But that was a hard self-actualization and realization until coming from the HBCU, until I stepped in the arena and I was like, it's like 10 more gears. Yeah. Yeah. Because you are who you are, whoever you're around, sharpen yourself in that sport or whatever sport you play.
So when you went over to Germany, like, what was that like playing over there? And you know, what was kind of like the differences playing with high school? I mean, not high school, but like American ball, and then playing like overseas ball, because they got a little bit different style over there, right?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily that hard. It was just more like you were there for a job. Yeah. You don't have to. We ain't got to shake hands. Just there for a job. But it was great. I think outside of basketball is where it became hard for me.
Yeah.
An agent, someone who gonna talk you up. Look, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
You know, and especially me, not playing much that year. I didn't have I won't say he wasn't good. He wasn't fighting for me like that.
Right.
So you get a small contract, and then you start looking at numbers, and you know I wanted to make money at the time, and then I get a call to be a coach, and that money is guaranteed, it's different.
Yeah.
And I ain't got to grind my body to the ground, so I just made that decision, and then we 2 free master's degrees later.
Yeah.
So.
And so like whenever you got that call. Where did that call originally came from? From Missouri to be a...
So my aunt, who is the wife of my uncle.
Right.
She called me. He's going to call me and expect me to know what's going on. Yeah. She's going to call me and soften the blow and be like, hey, you think you want to do this or you want to... And I'm like, yeah. He called and he's like, well, got a spot for you. You want it? Numbers here, this and that. You're going to have to work your butt off. Don't think just because you're my nephew, I'm pushing you up, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I knew what was up, and I knew I wanted to further my academia, but I didn't want to pay for it. Didn't it, Wall? So I was like, all right, I'm going to go get this master's, bro. Yeah. So.
And what did you go to be a coach for at Missouri?
So men's basketball, I was first a graduate assistant, in which I was in charge of some scouting responsibilities where I would cut film, some recruiting where we reach out to high school and AAU coaches, helping the other coaches get certain dates of when they got to go to, because we have live and dead periods, and so they got to know that. So helping them balance families and understand where to go, when to go. What else was I? Oh, kind of like a player development job too, working out the players. Sometimes I would make sure none of them would like, as a big brother, get in trouble.
Yeah.
Just that kind of stuff, like call it grunt work, but it's an amazing responsibility.
Right.
So that's where I started. I did that for 2 years.
Sounds like you got to do a lot of different things too, which kind of helps like switch the job up and make the job a little bit more fun.
It still didn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
I got to wear, and then here's the deal. I had a Nike deal.
Yeah.
So as a coach, so I could go in and spend, what would I get? $3,000 a year on Nike. I could go in a coach's portal. And like for instance, if Travis Scott was out, I could go get a Travis Scott. It went out then, but like I could go get that on a sheet, and we can have those. Right.
Let's go.
So it was sweet. I can get anything I want. So I dress, sweet every day. I dress in my kind of clothing, and
that's fire. That's fire though.
Dope.
So and then what was it like? Do you think? Leaving sports as an athlete and transitioning, like how did that kind of affect you mentally? Did it kind of have a negative effect for a little bit, or how did that kind of work out?
So remember earlier in the pod when I was saying my compartmentalization came from me being locked into sports and not going through what was going on in real life.
Yeah.
So technically I never walked away until after I got the job here at TU. I did that for 5.5 years. We on year 7, going to 8 right now, right? So I've been running my business.
Yeah.
So I was still living that double life with basketball, coaching, and then going to playing in men's league and cooking and killing. And like I still got it.
Yeah.
But I was masking something else. You know, I was masking really who I was, and my identity was there. I would always tell my dudes, I'm like, my identity ain't basketball. And then I walked away from the full-time coaching job to do what I do now. I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
Like, like I'm sitting up here. I look at my degrees every day. I got this, and I'm like, damn, like my basket, like who am I? And I'm still around basketball players every day. I got some in town right now that I'm like, who am I? So that was hard for me. And then I started to do other things. I started like to go out a little bit. I started to move a little differently. I started to be a little bit more critical of myself and negative of myself, and another light in my job and my position. I started worrying about what people think, and that took me about a year.
Man.
And we snapped out of it, and I'm like, all right, I know who I am. I got my powers back. Like I've been RBJ since this started.
Yeah.
So that was a crazy dark place for me. Let's say 2 years ago. You know, when I left college coaching.
And then so how did you get from University of Missouri to Tulsa?
So once again, coach's nephew, did a good job at Missouri. I grinded, did my job, was high level thinker. And then Coach Hafe got the job at the University of Tulsa, and 7-year job, 7-year contract, big numbers. I think it's out there around 1.2, which is one of the highest paid coaches at University of Tulsa.
Wow.
He had just came off being AP Coach of the Year. And, you know, when you're in a coaching staff, it's a small niche group. And so you know how it is in real life. You don't trust many people. You know, if you got this vertically integrated and you see people do the way you want to do and you can trust them, you take them with you. You treat them right. You up the pay. You do whatever you need to do to keep your surroundings. So just followed the suit. Got the University of Tulsa. Amazing opportunity, amazing job, but we didn't have the same things we had at the University of Missouri. You know, so over 2 years we built that new weight room, training table, just kind of made it move a lot smoother so recruiting can go down. And so that's
what were some of your greatest memories over there at TU, man?
I should have wore my ring today. That first year making the NCAA tournament, we had our leading guy, Shaq Harrison, Juice Woodard, DeAndre. I need to go down that list. Rashad Ray, that team, and sorry if I miss any more names, y'all my dogs. That team, bro. Markel Curtis, my guy. That team, the best group of guys I've ever been around. And I was able to coach. And that was me really cutting my teeth as a coach. So I had to, and this is when I went into becoming a strength and conditioning. So at Missouri, I did 2 years of recruiting and then I wanted to do weight room stuff. So the strength coach that I was with is Tudor Pandolf, who's now with Philadelphia 76ers. 6'9", Bulgarian cat, played at Western Kentucky, played pro. Super nice. But anyway, if he didn't hurt his knee, he might still be killing it. But anyway, I went under him at TU as assistant director of athletic performance. He gave me so much autonomy. I mean, I was running the room, you know, as a young dude, younger dude. And, you know, it's different when you, like I was 26, 27. So those dudes are probably 22. Some of them are 24. So we write the same. So me telling you, touch the line, it kind of hit different when you like, what you mean touch the line? We the same. We the same. You know, and I had a ring in Mizzou too, but probably that tournament run at TU, where we got that ring and we had that great group of guys, and we had a lot of great groups too. But that one was special, bro. Group, that was special.
So what does your time there teach you the most, you think?
What my life always, what God has always pushed me to is perseverance and patience. Once again, I had that syndrome like when I was a player. I'm about to be the best strength coach in the world. I'm going to go here. And then it just was like, nah, you got these things to work on before you get to your fruits of your labor. And so
what ultimately made you decide that, like, all right, now it's time to put the coaching away and do something for myself, start my own thing? So
technically I'm not done with that. I still got some unfinished business. But when the time is right. I think it's a blessing in disguise. The university was cutting certain sports, TU was, and they were cutting certain positions. At the time, mine was considered one of those that you could keep or you couldn't. My uncle, being a coach, would have paid my salary for the year. For some reason, I put on some big boy britches and was like, all right, I'm going to go see what running my own thing is like, but I'm going to keep my foot here. So I started my own business. I started in Broken Arrow. I had a gym, no air conditioner in the summer. Weather like this. Like,
bro, that Oklahoma heat, bro.
Like this.
It ain't no joke.
Turf. And shout out to Derek and Lisa Roberts from Greater Broken Arrow. Gave me an opportunity to do that. But started out there, and I had just pros coming through. Some of them were the ones that finished at TU that was waiting on calls from overseas.
Okay.
And I was training them, making barely nothing, but it was enough. It was rivaling my coaching money. I didn't really know I could make more money until I left.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, I could. So, but I was still going to TU and helping in the mornings in the weight room.
Yeah.
Because in this game, you gotta keep your connections. Because your connections go here, and you get pushed in, plugged in like that.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I got off topic. But question wise, that's kind of what I was rolling and I was doing when I.
And what was it about the strength and conditioning that kind of made you fall in love with that aspect of it?
Oh, so rewind back to Missouri. I was having rough days, man. I think one particular time we had a bunch of 5-star, like McDonald's All-American recruits come in. Some of them from North Carolina. I won't mention names. And I was in charge of making pickup teams. I put like all the McDonald's All-Americans on the same team, and I put like our 3 stars on the same team and 4 stars. And that was bad because I didn't mix the teams up right.
Yeah.
And so you got parents here getting mad that I put this on this team, exposing this guy.
Yeah.
Nobody's ready for that.
Right.
The team of McDonald's All-Americans was just out there just
hooping on them, doing them bad.
But it's crazy because they were just this much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 3, 4, 5 at that time.
Right.
4 or 5 stars different now. Depends on who takes your content. Now no knock. But that's when I got called into the office and it became political and I was getting in trouble for that. And I'm like, dang, I ain't know. Because I'm a hooper, so I'm like, figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I ain't know I was supposed to do that because nobody told me to do that. I'm going off my knowledge.
Right.
Side story too. As you recruit and you learn the game and no NIL, there's certain things you can't do. You can't just move a certain way. Just a lot of politics in it. A lot of politics in everything, coaching.
Right.
I take that. I stepped in the weight room and I always had a, basketball athletic physique.
Right.
And, just having fun with the guys. And Tador was like, you should really consider being a strength coach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dog, I don't really know if they hitting like that. And speaking of representation, it's not many black strength coach
Facts.
in men's basketball to go back. It's usually like the brolic football guy, and the basketball players, they really gravitate to a guy that did what they did.
Yeah.
No knock on football, they get it done too.
Right.
But basketball, it's a small number.
Yeah.
So I stepped in Missouri, just was interning, and then fast forward at TU, got that position. So it's been stairs for me. So that's when I stepped in the weight room, and I've been nice at that since. And I still coach, and I still minister my psychology.
Right. So what's the best things that you would say have come with, running your own business and stuff?
Really being a man out here, man, because I've been sheltered so long. And not sheltered, but when you have a job, technically, and you got benefits and you got all this, you start to get kind of spoiled in that. And a lot of things when I stepped out, I didn't know I had to do. Like you talking about renewing certain things, doing this, what it looks like to have credentials in order and all, like what it looks like to run a business. I'm thinking like it's just all money in all the time, and it can be, but you just learn so much more. And I'm so sharp now. When I do get the opportunity to go back into, let's say I get blessed with an NBA position, or I work for an NBA position or a college position,
right?
I'm gonna still have an entrepreneurial mindset enough to run this over here and to help my players and congregation know to run something else to get your money from a different place too,
right?
Legally. So it's just that, that's probably the biggest thing that I've taken from stepping out on my own. It was scary at first. It still gets scary sometimes because, you eat what you kill.
Right. Right.
Really, literally.
Right. Yeah, literally.
Unless you got some crazy schematic where you put money somewhere and someone can help you figure that out, you eat what you kill. I've learned so many things through connections now about building credit, stuff that I wouldn't have learned if I was still in that bubble.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still chasing a sports car in that bubble. I get out here, I'm like, man, that sports car depreciates.
Yeah.
Like, why am I chasing that? You know? Be basic and put your money somewhere else and, you know, grind it somewhere else.
So speaking of like the multiple streams of income and stuff, I've seen that like you've been able to use your content now to like land brand deals and stuff, such as like Lululemon and stuff. So like talk about like how were you able to navigate that, land those deals, and kind of like what they expect from a content creator.
Yeah, you know, so it's crazy because the Lululemon deal came on genuine meeting of the right person on the right day.
Yeah.
I'm at TU coaching. We're Lululemon since had the Miami lifestyle. Okay. I tuck my shirt in. I walk in the store, and Hayden Smith, now Hayden Lester Smith, is in leadership, and she notices me, and we have a conversation, and I talk to her like this, and she's like, "Oh, you're not from here?
Yeah.
What do you do?" I'm like, "I coach here." She's like, "Keep coming in the store."
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking it's gonna lead to ambassadorship or some kind of content deal. I'm not thinking that. And I'm not posting at this time either.
Yeah.
So keep circling back, and then it's a year. We got a year down in Tulsa. The next year, she's like, we're having renewals because it's every 2 years they pull an ambassador from the community into the store.
Okay.
And they like, all right, we got a spot, and you really would fit if you got the time.
Yeah.
So fast forward that next August, which was another year, I ended up taking the ambassadorship position because of my interaction. And I think it was my credentials too, and I was different.
Right.
And started speaking to their workers with a little bit of psychology and helping them push through with like working with people. And you know, when you're in retail, somebody can come in and give you a crazy, like, just a madness, a crazy tude, and you got to deal with it. And you're like, I ain't even really deserve that. I'm trying to help you get, you
Facts,
know,
bro.
And so you got to know how to weather those storms. So I was able to speak to them, build with them. And that's kind of what built my Lululemon, and they sent me up the pole. Like, so here's the deal. All the content I made, I was just cashing out on from my pocket, right? Hiring videographer here. Ones I would meet at the university, we had a videographer that was doing freelance work.
Right.
I would give him, you know, the bread he wanted, and he would film stuff for me. And I'll put it out, I tag the company.
Right.
I know they were annoyed with me, but I would tag the company. And then finally they started sending me DMs. And, you know, I would answer back. It would first be like, oh, see you rocking the gear. See you doing this. To all of a sudden, they sending it up the line. They sending it to Austin. They like, who this dude?
Yeah.
And then they get him back. And then they like, oh, that's Ricky. You know, Ricky been like that.
Yeah.
So it took a year for that to happen. And so then the Lululemon deal grew. And to the point where I started getting like, what they give me, 3 bands a month.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. And then 40% off all stuff. They want me in the brand all times. And I'm still legacy now. I came off the full-time contract to legacy.
Okay.
And so that shaped me dealing with anybody out here. And not only was I not just the face of the store, they let me come in the store, do what I do as far as psychologically.
Yeah.
They trusted me. I put the team through stretches, pushed them, made them feel better. And that was genuine. They let me just, like, if I go in there right now, I can go to the top of the store and kick it. Like, you know, so that's organic and that's family. And shout out to Hayden and Casey, Chanka. And so that's what kind of gave me the floodgate into the other brands. And that kind of set the precedent. So when they see that, they like, oh, you know, serious. You know?
Yeah, serious now.
Yeah.
And have you been able to like secure any other brand deals outside of the Lululemon?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple now, and I'm gonna swing back, and when they get done, I'll give them to you. But yeah, man, it's the only problem is knowing where to go with it. Because after you leave something like that, everything else needs to make sense. Because it don't need to look like I'm on just this hustle to push stuff.
Right.
You know,
just
I'm past that.
Yeah,
I'm past that.
Right.
If the hustle makes sense, and it's my kind of hustle, I'm with it. But now I gotta move accordingly. Right. You know, so I'm still dreaming of, you know, Nike Jordan.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's some childhood stuff. But I got some stuff in the play that's gonna unfold probably in a couple weeks. Just making sure it makes sense and the ink dry properly.
Yeah.
So.
And speaking of like Nike and Jordan and stuff, man, I always like see you coming into 10 toes and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Be dripping, you know what I'm saying? And getting like the good stuff, you know what I'm saying? And like stuff also that what I appreciate about your style is you get stuff that like isn't necessarily for the hype, you know what I mean? Like I think you got those Dornbecker ones. Yeah, those are like at first when I seen them, I'm like, these are ugly pieces of shit. Like these are so ugly. Like what in the world? And then like as I sat there and looked at them more like every day, I really started to appreciate that shoe. And I'm like, yo, this is actually fire.
Yeah.
And like for someone like when I see you coming to the store and stuff, you're someone that looks like that's a Ricky type of shoe, you know what I mean? So talk about like where did that kind of fashion come from and your love for sneakers?
So the Dornbecker, you know sneakers, it has a purpose behind every shoe.
Right.
And there was a time I couldn't get those because they were selling out so fast.
Yeah.
So for one, I like to walk in purpose, i.e. my shoes walk in purpose. So that Dornbecker has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
As far as my eclecticness and my fashion, man, I grew up East Coast South, so you got my uncles coming from up north, fly all the time, Tim boots, you know, Dipset stuff, right? And then you got my southern uncles, like Uncle Goot from Washington D.C., who actually D.C. is north, but he from the South. This dude wearing a suit, you know what I mean, with Pendletons, and he fly all the time.
Yeah.
He come into the house for dinner, my man in a suit, you know, so like it's crazy.
Tuesday dinner.
Still, like now, like, so I'm seeing all this and I got all these flavors and I'm taking a liking to fashion. And I grew up, I was born in 88, but I grew up in the 90s. And if you know the 90s, you know, we talking like Mike Tyson cut off sweatshirts. We talking about fly. Like we talking about paid in full. We talking about don't scuff my Nikes. Like, you know what I mean? Now
a lot
I
of the
scuff them
fashion
now.
today is coming back from
Facts.
now.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like I see Drake. Drake looked like he stepped out the 90s. Like,
For
you know. But anyway, that's where my fashion comes from, my drive. And also too, for like a little stint of my younger life, I kind of went through a little bully phase. I was getting bullied for like probably about 3 weeks. It was the hardest 3 weeks of my life until I figured it out, and I was like, all right, bet. But clothing and all that, what I wore, that's because I was wearing my dad's big like jeans, and you know, at that time we wearing that, you know. So that's now made me push the envelope on everything fashion wise, everything shoe wise. It has a purpose, man. You know, so I just like flavors, bro. I like to be fly, and I like to do my thing, and so that's what pushes me in that way, you know.
All right, man. So I got one last question for you today, man. You being a hooper, man.
Yeah.
But I know you from North Carolina.
Sure.
You might already know what the question is gonna be.
I don't.
LeBron or MJ?
Shit. You really have to do that?
I have to do it, bro. I gotta know, bro. LeBron or MJ, bro. The answer might depend, you know, the answer might decide if we have to run this back, spin it back for round 2 or not, you know. You say the wrong thing, you're just gonna cut it real quick.
Michael Jordan, bro.
And that's gonna be the end of the pod today, guys.
but I love LBJ, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I went to one of his high school games in Greensboro, North Carolina, when, you know,
really, like whenever he was playing.
Yeah, when in high school.
Wow,
he different, bro. Like,
wow, that's crazy. Talk about that. I want to know about that. What was it like seeing him
sold out? I mean, you know, so I don't know if you know who James Curry is. He played at OSU. Was supposed to go to UNC. He's my cousin. Lives in Enid, Oklahoma right now.
Okay.
Biggest player out of North Carolina.
Right.
Gyms packed. People driving from everywhere to see him. Look him up. Average 40 points a game in high school. Right. I never seen nothing on a magnitude like that until LeBron. LeBron had like 3 parking lots full.
Wow.
Like, and a man child.
Yes.
You know? Bronny different, bro. You know, Michael Jordan, the reason I had to pick him over LeBron has nothing to do with accolades and what he's done. Because if I look at what LeBron's done in current time, I can't knock that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a LeBron fan. Like, I cheer for LeBron. I get pissed when the Lakers don't make him because, like, he playing his hard. 40. Oh, yeah, 40.
Yes, bro, 40, bro. So, still out there. 40 and still dropping 40.
Yeah. But I think if LeBron was sitting here with us, which we're going to say he will be one day, right?
Hopefully.
He would agree with this.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan just did so much for the game, so much for our culture, as far as like how our fashion went, our shoes, what we looked up to, money wise, contingency. The only thing he didn't do was show us, because he was he didn't want to put all that out there.
Yeah.
But he did so much for our community, bro. I gotta go. But LeBron, I mean, I promised school, making sure single parents and parents are kids are having a place to live and so they can go to school. I can't. That's a hard sell for me. Only reason I choose Jordan because of the lineage, you know. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say he's better or nothing like that. It's just, you know, respect for them forefathers, bro.
For sure. So, man, as we end this pod, man, I guess that wasn't the last question, but last question is, man, basically, is what's next for you, man? What can the people expect next to see from Ricky Bolton Jr.?
More partnerships that are going to help the people around me. Mm-hmm. I'm really big on, like, if I got, this next partnership potentially is with a company that has some good products, and hopefully I can help turn people around me on to something good for their health, and not just a hustle for me. So something like that, more community involvement, and potentially me expanding my God-given ability in my bubble to be able to take this thing higher. You know, getting more travel contracts. You know, I traveled minimally this year because I was trying to build a business more in the community, but this next year, way more travel, way more just getting out of my comfort zone. So I think that's what you can expect from me, and also being more verbal on the social and talking to people and answering questions. For a while, I had a weird, I'm still a word from my buddy, but a weird gatekeeper mentality. Like, nah, don't get too close, bro. What you gonna do? What you gonna take? Open book, bro. Like when I met you, I was like, this bro is cool. I didn't know you had a podcast. And then Brody was like, yeah, you know, we got a pod, and then we met. So like just stuff like this, getting out of my, coming talking, coming chatting, not acting like I'm here when I'm really, we all here. You know. So.
And I appreciate you doing that too, man.
Bro, this is love.
Man, we didn't really know each other at all. And I just kind of, you know, approached you, asked you. It was all love. You was down to come. We scheduled it. One of the easiest pods to get scheduled. So
you big on energy?
Yeah, definitely.
When I first met you, and you talking about kicks, because usually you know, you're really good at communicating. So you're like, hey man, anything I can help you with? And I'm just like, bro, I'm just in the store. Usually people be like, you just gonna be in the store? Like you was like, oh man, you know, kicking. I'm like, oh, this bro is cold. And I met you again. I was like, bro, this is a dope dude. So you know, energy's great, bro. I'm big on that.
Well, man, that's gonna be the end of the pod today. Go ahead and shout out to the people where they can find you and how they can follow you and everything like that.
My ad on Instagram is, well, all social media, even Threads, is at Ricky Bolton Jr. RICKYBOLTONJR. Hit me, man. Email is rickyboltonjr@icloud.com. Open book. Let's rap. You need some help with something? I got you. You need to work out? I got you. All right.
Let's go. Man, I appreciate you for stopping by today, chatting it up with us on the Jabber Pod, man. I appreciate you guys for staying tuned, listening, watching, subscribing, all that great stuff that you guys do. Man, we'll see you guys next week for another episode. We out. Dope, man. That was fire, bro. Hell yeah.